In my past life, my bleeding heart led me to choose a dying, unwanted serpent as my beast companion. Little did I know he carried true dragon blood. I risked my life gathering rare treasures to help him ascend. At our bonding ceremony, he summoned tribulation lightning, transformed into a black dragon, and slaughtered 180 members of my sect, yet he took my junior sister to the upper realm in his embrace, leaving me to watch them gaze upon mortals below. When I opened my eyes again, I scooped up the curious cat watching from the bushes. The pesky snake frantically coiled around my ankle. I'm a true dragon. Why won't you choose me, senior sister? Why are you still spacing out? All the powerful spirit beasts are being taken. Hearing my junior brother's familiar voice, I momentarily spaced out. The oppressive aura of the heavenly lightning still lingered. My heart had been numbed by the electric current, yet now it gradually regained vitality. Touching my newly beating heart and witnessing the unbelievable scene before me, I finally realized I'd been reborn, and I'd returned to the very day of selecting my spirit beast companion. Our sect possesses an ancient bonding formation that allows practitioners to share lifespan and spiritual energy with their beast companions. Thus, the stronger the chosen companion, the greater the cultivation benefits. 1. In my past life, my junior sister snatched away the most powerful nine-tailed celestial fox before I could choose. When my turn came, both the shadow wolf and white tiger showed me favor, yet I took pity on the unwanted scaly serpent Blaze lurking in the corner. Covered in wounds, he lay motionless in the snow, his serpentine scales charred beyond recognition, a pitiful sight indeed. If no one chose him, he'd likely freeze to death in this blizzard before dawn. My heart ached at the thought, and I declared him to be my beast companion. My master intervened. This wretched snake isn't just hideous, it lacks even a trace of spiritual energy. Who knows if it'll survive those injuries? If none of these spirit beasts please you, I'll find another, but you mustn't choose this one. Looking down at the desperate serpent Blaze coiled around my arm, desperately seeking warmth, I was moved by his will to survive and resolved to protect him. Lifting my head, I declared to my master, Master, have you forgotten, I'm among the finest alchemists in our sect. These wounds are nothing, I'll heal him completely. My beast companion shall be second to none. After nursing his injuries with elixirs, Blaze shed his unsightly old skin, emerging renewed. To my astonishment, he revealed himself as a young black serpent with traces of true dragon bloodline. His obsidian scales shimmered like black diamonds under the sunlight, with faint golden streaks glimmering along his underbelly. Legends of serpents ascending to dragonhood have existed since antiquity. How much more likely for this black serpent bearing true dragon blood? With proper cultivation, his draconic transformation was imminent. Ecstatic, I brewed elixirs day and night to trade for mystical treasures that could aid his metamorphosis. For him, I even bartered my most prized possession, an alchemist's irreplaceable ancient formula, just to obtain dragon transformation herbs. At last, 2 small protrusions emerged on his head as the day of the bonding ceremony arrived. During my matrimonial ceremony, the sky suddenly erupted with thunder and lightning. The little black serpent soared into the air, shedding its skin as horns and 5 claws emerged, its form swelling larger and larger until it blotted out the sun, a colossal black dragon. The sect disciples stood utterly dumbfounded, their congratulations frozen on their lips. Then came 18 heavenly thunderbolts, reducing our sect to scorched earth as my fellow disciples turned to ashes in the divine retribution. Lightning strikes relentlessly demolished the sect's buildings, injuring disciples as agonized screams filled the air. I desperately pleaded for help from the black dragon above, only to see him shielding my junior sister with tender devotion. Isolde, that wretched woman is finally dead, now we can be together forever, never to part. As we writhed in torment on the ground, my junior sister ascended to the higher realm astride the dragon, wearing a blissful smile. The memory of our sect's destruction that day still makes my blood boil. I could skin that slimy snake Blaze alive. This time I didn't even glance at that weasel Blaze, instead spotting a little cat hiding in the grass, watching the commotion. Though just a kitten, I sensed tremendous spiritual energy radiating from it. Its amber eyes gleamed like liquid gold, lounging lazily before letting out an adorable, involuntary yawn. I rushed over and hugged him tightly. You're the one, little kitty. I choose you as my beast companion. I picked the cat because in our previous life, after the beast companion selection ended, everyone realized there had been a curious feline hiding in the bushes all along. With an indignant meow, he darted out, muttered how boring, then transformed into a tautai and ascended to the higher realm. At that moment, our master and fellow disciples were filled with regret. Why hadn't they noticed him sooner and chosen him as their beast companion? Nash the glutton is an ancient divine beast, 1,000 times mightier than any spiritual creature present. Even the black serpent that achieved dragonhood would be but a mere fledgling before him. The next we heard of him was that he'd gone into solitary cultivation, failed to overcome his inner demons, and disappeared after his cultivation regressed. Everyone lamented his tragic fate. Given this second chance at life, I'll surely seize this opportunity with both hands. After all, I'm the woman who transformed even the rogue serpent Blaze into a true dragon. Surely I can help Nash the glutton conquer his inner demons. All eyes were now fixed on the little kitten cradled in my arms. The master spoke solemnly. When choosing a spirit beast, strength should be paramount. A cute cat won't put food on the table. It can't protect you. Even the youngest disciple chimed in, Senior sister, you're our sect's greatest alchemist. You must select a powerful spirit beast to guard you. Suddenly, the kitten in my arms squirmed free and transformed into its true Taotai form. Well, am I worthy of Lark now? The master's eyes widened in disbelief. This is Taotai, Nash the Taotai. How blind I was to not recognize Nash the Taotai. Lark, your vision is truly sharp to have chosen the Taotai at first glance. This must be fate's design. The master waved his feathered fan again. Excellent, excellent. Lark, you must cultivate diligently in the days to come. Do not squander this heaven-sent opportunity. Seeing how genuinely happy my master was for me, my heart swelled with warmth and tears threatened to spill. In my past life, it was all because of my foolish mercy, saving that vile scheming snake Blaze, that our sect suffered such calamity. Our master was a man of great kindness. Every disciple in the sect had received his benevolence. Even that wretched snake Blaze, though the master would openly scorn him, secretly received bundles of burn-healing herbs through my hands. Who could have imagined the black serpent's ascension would claim our master first? To shield me from the lightning strikes, he embraced me tightly, only to be reduced to charred remains himself. Given this second chance at life, I swear to protect our sect and repay my master's sacrifice. Just then, the mangy serpent Blaze, who'd been lying wounded in the snow, somehow dragged himself to my side. He coiled tightly around my ankle, hissing, Lark, I'll become a true dragon. Why won't you choose me? The moment I heard this, I knew he had been reborn too. Perfect. You're exactly who I've been looking for. It's time we settled our score, fighting back nausea. I yanked that slimy snake Blaze toward me, only for him to flash a groveling smile. Thinking I'd changed my mind, I knew it. Lark, you still have feelings for me. His words made me sick to my stomach, and I flung him away like a piece of snot. He crashed heavily to the ground, blood trickling from his mouth with a look of utter disbelief. Lark, are you really abandoning me? The junior disciple spat at the shameless snake Blaze. Pa. How dare a lowlife like you covet our eldest senior sister? Go piss on a puddle and check your own hideous reflection. The choice has been made, yet you cling like the slimy serpent you are, living up to your name. Damn right, eldest senior sister and Nash the Glutton are fated soulmates. What right does a monster like you have to speak? Our eldest senior sister is the sect's prodigy alchemist. Who the hell are you to even stand in her presence, even with the sect disciples mocking him? That shameless snake Blaze still refused to back down. Lark, I know you're still angry, but I had no choice. Believe me, with my true dragon bloodline, we're destined to be together. Just trust me one more time in this lifetime, and I swear I'll be faithful to you till the end. I glared at him coldly. Did he really think he could fool me that easily? His words drew another round of mocking from the junior disciples. This pathetic snake dares claim dragon lineage. Must be delusional. Can't even lie convincingly, rambling about past lives and eternal devotion. The serpent's truly lost it. Let's scatter. What rotten luck encountering this mad snake. Unexpectedly, the youngest disciple spoke up. Master, if this snake truly possesses dragon bloodline, wouldn't it be a waste? Perhaps you should examine it. Stroking his beard, the master stepped forward to inspect. Well, it does carry the true dragon's blood. Might even ascend to dragonhood. How about? The master's gaze swept across the junior disciples, making the little kitten on my chest let out a disgruntled mewl. I chuckled. Relax, even if he had true dragon bloodline, I wouldn't choose him. I already have you. Only then did he settle contentedly in my arms, nuzzling his face affectionately against my chest. I'd assumed Blaze the rogue snake would end up alone this lifetime, but unexpectedly, my junior sister stepped forward. Master, I vow to form a spiritual bond with him and help him ascend as a dragon. Hearing her junior sister's words, the nine-tailed fox spirit previously chosen by the younger disciple let out an indignant cry. Isolde, you've already chosen me. How could you pick another? The junior sister hugged the grimy rogue snake Blaze, lowering her eyes to avoid the nine-tailed fox's gaze. I'm sorry, but he's just too pitiful. You're a celestial nine-tailed fox with exceptional gifts. You'll surely find a better cultivation partner, but he needs me. The nine-tailed fox watched as the junior sister resolutely chose the slippery serpent Blaze, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. Fine, just don't come crying with regrets later. With a piercing howl, she dashed away and vanished without a trace. The master opened his mouth to call after the departing fox spirit, but it was too late. That nine-tailed fox had been his painstakingly acquired spirit beast, the most gifted of this entire cohort, now driven away so easily by the junior sister's thoughtlessness. The master sighed heavily. Isolde, you'd already chosen the nine-tailed fox, why take this wretched Blaze instead? Our sect has never abandoned a bonded spirit beast. That good-for-nothing serpent should have been left for other disciples. The junior sister hugged the lazy snake Blaze with a displeased expression. Master, you're so biased. When senior sister chose the gluttonous Nash, you praised her discernment and great fortune, yet when I willingly picked this unwanted Blaze and gave up the nine-tailed fox, instead of blessing my spirit beast's potential to become a dragon, you scolded my choice. What, can't you stand to see me succeed? The master gaped speechlessly at such twisted logic, finally waving awkwardly. Enough, this is fate's design. Take your spirit beasts and return to your quarters. I watched her triumphant smirk with silent derision. She'd always competed with me since childhood. Though protocol demanded the junior disciple choose last, she'd pestered our master for first pick, yet even claiming the finest nine-tailed fox couldn't satisfy her. Seeing I'd chosen the gluttonous Nash, green with envy, he hastily abandoned the nine-tailed fox to gamble on Blaze the scaly snake with its dragon bloodline. But can her amateurish skills really help that scaly Blaze ascend to dragonhood? A snake that can't transform is just worthless trash. This lifetime, junior sister, I'll watch you march to your own doom. When I returned to my cave, the kitten meowed and leapt off me, scampering in circles around my dwelling, leaving tufts of fur everywhere. Finally, he tugged at my clothes begging for a hug. When I reached out to embrace him, he glared at me and huffed. You were staring so intently at that slimy snake Blaze and junior sister earlier. Did you take a fancy to him? Regret choosing me now, too? I patted his head. What nonsense are you thinking? That repulsive Blaze is downright ugly. How could he possibly compare to your adorableness? Why would I ever fancy him? I was just reflecting on how our junior sister schemes with all her cleverness, yet never learned the tale of the farmer and the snake. She'd better watch out before that heartless serpent bites her to death. Hearing this, he finally relaxed completely, purring contentedly. Good that you know your place. That snake might never even become a dragon, while I'm a genuine primordial divine beast. Amused by his tsundere attitude, I teased him deliberately. If you're so worried, why don't we form the spiritual pact right now? To my surprise, he agreed immediately. Deal. We'll bond now, no takebacks. In my past life, I'd chosen the cunning serpent Blaze as my spirit beast. Out of pity for his severe injuries, I never pressed for the pact, thinking the bonding ceremony would be soon enough, yet at the ceremony, he betrayed me for my junior sister. I thought Tautai Nash, being an ancient mythical beast, would be more cautious about forming a pact. Never expected him to agree so quickly. What a delightful surprise. His paw shook my hand. Hey, why the dazed look? When I snapped out of it, Nash had already drawn his heart's blood, eagerly waiting to seal our bond. Moved by his sincere expression, that rare feeling of being wholeheartedly chosen, I swiftly offered a drop of my own heart's blood to merge with his. Just then, the little kitten before me suddenly transformed into human form, completely naked. Flustered, I immediately shut my eyes and crouched down, covering my head. What are you doing? How can you be naked in broad daylight? The person looked utterly innocent. But I'm a divine beast. We don't wear clothes by nature. I hastily reached out to push him away but touched his rock-hard muscles, snatching my hand back as if burned. I stammered, no way, you absolutely must put on clothes. I grabbed my pajamas from the wardrobe and tossed them at him. At least put some pants on. He chuckled while looking at me, picked up my pants, and obediently put them on, still curled up in embarrassment with my eyes shut tight. I suddenly felt the world spin as he scooped me up in a princess carry. We're formally bonded partners now. Why are you still so shy? His scorching body heat radiated against me. When I tried to push him away, he only entangled me tighter, pulling us closer. Just then, an ill-timed voice came from outside the door. Senior sister, are you there? Turned out it was my junior sister carrying that troublemaker Blaze the snake coming to find me. What on earth are you two doing in broad daylight? Blaze the snake raised his head angrily, glaring at us tangled together. I quickly scrambled off Nash the glutton and shoved him into the bedroom to hide. He protested indignantly, am I really that embarrassing, or are you still hung up on that damn Blaze? I quickly soothed this jealous soul. With a body like yours, how could you just let anyone see? You're taken now. Got to maintain some propriety. No more flashing that perfect physique, understand? At my words, his cheeks flushed. The anger in those beautiful eyes melted into tender devotion. You mean that? You truly think I'm attractive? I nodded solemnly. Just stay put for now. Let me find you proper clothes first. When I stepped outside, my junior sister eyed me with venom. How scandalous. Senior sister, keeping a beast husband at home while cavorting with strange men in broad daylight. I wonder if your gluttonous Nash would still want you if he knew. The mangy serpent Blaze in her arms glared at me with resentment. Lark. I never thought you'd stoop this low, even if you resent me. You shouldn't gamble with your own virtue. How could you just sleep around with anyone? My junior sister smirked with smug confidence. Eldest sister, I'm sure you'd prefer to keep this scandal quiet. Heal my spirit beast's burns, and I won't breathe a word of this to anyone. With a bang, my bedroom door burst open. It was the gluttonous Nash. What nonsense are you spouting? Lark and I are formally bonded, lawful partners now. Since when do married couples need your permission to be intimate? Tisk tsk. Is your useless snake Blaze so incompetent that he can't even shapeshift or satisfy you? Is that why you're sneaking around eavesdropping on married couples? How utterly shameless. Watching Nash the gluttonous beast fiercely protect his wife was both touching and hilarious. The moment he heard someone talking about me, he burst out in such a rush that he kicked the door right off its hinges. Yet he still remembered my warning about maintaining masculine virtue. So he wrapped himself tightly in a blanket. The senior brother from next door came over upon hearing the commotion. I could hear the ruckus from all the way over there. What's going on? The moment he arrived, he saw the tense junior sister and Nash the Tautai wrapped in a blanket, covering his eyes. The senior brother exclaimed, "Senior sister, are you out of your mind? You've already chosen Nash the Tautai as your beast companion. How could you possibly?" I chuckled lightly. "Senior brother, this is Nash the Tautai. We just completed our bonding ritual, and he transformed into human form. I was just coming to ask you for some clothes." The senior brother looked utterly astonished. "What? You're the gluttonous Nash. How come your human form is this handsome?" Then he quickly cut himself. "Ancient divine beasts are truly extraordinary. Just forming a pact lets you shapeshift. Unlike ordinary spirit beasts that need years of cultivation, I'll go fetch you some clothes right away." He then shot a glance at the junior sister. "What are you doing here?" The junior sister froze in embarrassment, but Nash cut in first. "For some reason, our dear junior sister enjoys eavesdropping on couples. Quite the peculiar hobby, isn't it?" The junior sister was so flustered by Nash the glutton's teasing that she couldn't get a word out, her lips opening and closing uselessly until the senior brother forcibly shooed her away. "Shoo, don't interfere with your senior sister's important business." Soon after, the senior brother's spirit eagle delivered a set of men's change clothes. When Nash the glutton put them on, the ordinary sect robe somehow looked tailor-made on him. His every movement carried an indescribable charm that left me momentarily spellbound. He approached and looked down at me. "I'm dressed now. Shall we share the bed?" My face instantly flushed crimson again. Having someone else in bed felt strange at first. But Tautai Nash noticed my discomfort and considerately transformed into a cat, curling up in my arms. In my dream, I relived the day our sect was destroyed. My junior martial sister and the treacherous serpent Blaze stood atop the clouds, staring coldly at me while chanting, "You deserve to die, you deserve to die." A cold sweat broke out down my back as I screamed no. Then I felt a fuzzy head nuzzling against me, bringing instant comfort that lulled me into deep sleep. The next day, I brought the gluttonous Nash to our master to request dual cultivation techniques, only to spot my junior sister and that shameless snake Blaze. Junior sister clung to our master. Elder sister's divine beast took human form immediately after bonding, while mine hasn't even recovered from its injuries. This isn't fair. You must heal this wretched snake for me. So after failing to threaten me into healing that snake yesterday, she's now pestering our master. Since when does a lowly creature like Blaze deserve our master's attention? I strode over and said, "My junior sister, is your face made of city walls? I've never heard of anyone expecting their master to raise their spirit beast. Tell me once it's healed. Who exactly would this creature belong to?" Junior sister pointed at me furiously. "Master, look, yesterday I went to ask senior sister to heal my scaly snake Blaze, but she immediately accused me of shamelessly eavesdropping on her private moments with her bonded beast. I had no choice but to come to you." The master glanced between us. "Your senior sister makes a valid point. Now that you both have bonded beasts, you can't just barge into others' chambers unannounced. Consider this a lesson learned." Junior sister immediately threw herself on the ground in a tantrum. "I don't care. You're all favoring senior sister just because my parents are gone. If you won't help me, I'll tell everyone how you bully an orphan. In our previous life, the entire sect indulged junior sister precisely because she was our late master's orphan, even letting her have first pick of spirit beasts when she couldn't complete her training tasks. Her martial brothers would finish them for her, even when she occasionally broke sect rules. As long as it wasn't too serious, our master would turn a blind eye. I myself often refined top-grade elixirs for her free of charge, yet she showed no gratitude, taking all these favors for granted. The slightest dissatisfaction would send her into violent tantrums, threatening and rolling about. Now she's pulling the same stunt again." At his wit's end, our master finally relented. "Sect rules state you must care for your own spirit beast. I can't treat it for you. Take these last 3 third-grade elixirs I have." Before our master could finish, the junior sister snatched the pills. "Gimme that." The master watched his youngest disciple walk away with a quiet sigh. "Ah, I spoiled her too much. I studied the master immediately. Master, don't blame yourself. The entire sect has witnessed your care for junior sister. Even our departed uncle wouldn't hold it against you. The master patted my hand. Thank heavens for you. Take this, the sect's dual cultivation technique. Practicing together will greatly enhance your cultivation. The secret realm trials begin in 6 months. I trust you'll distinguish yourself then. After bidding the master farewell, I unexpectedly encountered that slippery snake Blaze at the gate. Strangely, he hadn't left with junior sister. Lark, I know you're upset with me, but rest assured I'm still unbound. They say ancient masters could take 2 beast companions. If I recover, would you consider keeping me too? Ha, is he volunteering to be the concubine? I intertwine my fingers with Tautai Nash's. My husband stands right here. Have you no shame saying such things in his presence? The furious Tautai Nash melted at my declaration, sneering. You're not even fit to wipe my wife's feet. Wretch, scram. Just then, my junior sister came storming back. How dare you, you shameless wench. Trying to seduce my beast companion, she lunged to strike me, but Tautai Nash intercepted her, causing her to tumble down the steps and scrape her head. As the junior sister clutched her bleeding head and prepared to shriek, Nash silenced her with a spell, his eyes flashing murderously. You know I'm a savage, Tautai, not some docile creature. If you harass my mate again, don't expect mercy. He revealed his terrifying beastly visage, bearing razor-sharp fangs. The junior sister was so terrified by Nash the glutton's overwhelming aura that she clung to Blaze the wily serpent and fled in panic. From then on, she never dared to bother me again, and Nash and I enjoyed a peaceful life together. During this time, I devoted myself to cultivation and frequently ventured into secret realms for training, acquiring many rare treasures. Though I wanted to share them with Nash, he always refused. These treasures were hard-earned by you. They're rightfully yours. What kind of man would hide behind a woman and live off her efforts? Don't worry about me. I've got my own ways to improve my cultivation without relying on your spoils. His words warmed my heart, reminding me of my past life's hardships. Back then, the cunning serpent Blaze was severely injured and refused to form a pact with me. He wouldn't practice cultivation techniques together either, claiming it would deplete his vital energy. Left with no choice, I had to cultivate alone. Progressing far slower than my fellow disciples. 3. Once the top female disciple of our sect, I'd fallen to the very bottom of the ranks. Meanwhile, with the nine-tailed fox as assistants, my junior sister's cultivation advanced by leaps and bounds, making her the sect's new champion. But the cunning serpent Blaze retorted, Relax, I'm a spiritual beast with true dragon lineage, just keep me well fed, and when I ascend to dragonhood, prosperity will follow. Don't be so short-sighted about immediate gains. Back then, I genuinely believed it was my fault for comparing myself to others, so I trained harder, took on sect missions, and brewed elixirs with renewed dedication. Every rare herb I bled for and every potion I brewed day and night ended up in Blaze's greedy maw, yet his cultivation progress remained sluggish, so I proposed dual cultivation through a soul bond again. It would accelerate both our advancements. He stubbornly refused. Absolutely not. My body hasn't fully recovered. The blood oath requires heart's essence. I can't risk any injury. What if draining my vital blood hinders my draconic ascension? The cost outweighs the gain. Eyeing the plump, spoiled serpent Blaze I'd pampered, I consoled myself. Maybe it's just water weight. Little did I know, he never intended to bond with me. That scheming snake had set his sights on our junior sister whose cultivation had skyrocketed. I was such a fool. Serving as his blood bag for nothing, only to be cast aside in the end. Just then, the glutton Nash brought me a bowl of blood lotus. Drink it quick. I gathered these from the mountain yesterday. It'll cleanse your marrow and transform your body. You're sure to take first place in the secret realm trials. Holding the blood lotus, I took a sip. So sweet, but tears rolled into the bowl, and he fretted as he hurriedly wiped them away. What's wrong? Doesn't it taste good? I quickly shook my head. No, I'm just so moved. He grinned. Tears over this. You'll have plenty more reasons to cry later. His eyes darted mischievously. How about tonight? I promise no tears this time. Get lost. I hurled a pillow at him as he ducked and fled, only to transform into a cat and curl back into my arms, grumbling, When will you make an honest man of me? They all tease me for calling you my lady day and night without us being properly wed. Who dares mock you? Fine. Fine what? After tomorrow's trial ends, I'll ask our master to officiate our wedding. He planted a joyful kiss on my cheek. I pushed his face away, feigning disgust. The next morning, Tautai Nash and I arrived early at the secret realm, but junior sister was nowhere to be seen. Come to think of it, it's been half a year since I last saw her. Just as my fellow disciples' voices drifted over, that junior sister insisted on betraying the nine-tailed fox to gamble on that slippery serpent Blaze, yet she refuses to cultivate properly herself. constantly begging from this one, stealing from that one, scraping together elixirs to feed that good-for-nothing Blaze. Rumor has it she and that wretched Blaze make terrible partners, always bickering. She might be too ashamed to show her face today. Exactly. Our spirit beasts are already assisting with sect missions, while no one's even seen Junior Sister's familiar. Who knows what state it's in now? Whether that lazy serpent has even molted properly is anyone's guess. Just then, my Junior Sister arrived fashionably late, followed by a half-human, half-snake man with partially shed snakeskin grotesquely bunched around his waist, a truly revolting sight. As the serpent man approached, I recognized him as the notorious Blaze. Never in my past life had I seen him in such a wretched state, clearly the result of some botched cultivation technique. That reckless forced transformation backfired spectacularly, leaving him in this monstrous form. Everyone couldn't help but cast strange glances at the wretched Snake Blaze's bizarre appearance, yet the Junior Sister remained utterly oblivious, instead brimming with smugness. Eldest Senior Sister, don't get cocky. You only became the sect's first shapeshifting beastmaster by riding on the coattails of the ancient divine beast Tao Tai Nash. Everyone calls you a genius, but you're just lucky. Unlike you, I transformed a dying wretched Snake Blaze into this half-human, half-serpent form. He's clearly on the verge of full metamorphosis. I hear Nash is about to face his heavenly tribulation. That divine beast of yours may be powerful, but who knows if he'll survive. Meanwhile, my spiritual beast might soon ascend as a dragon. When that happens, I'll be the sect's true prodigy. Don't come crawling to me for protection then. Just wait, I'll defeat you in this trial. You'll regret everything you've done to me. Hearing my Junior Sister's words, I turned to look at Nash the glutton. Why hadn't he told me he was about to face his heavenly tribulation? Noticing my concerned gaze, he gave me a reassuring look before pulling me into a gentle embrace. It's all right, trust me. Seeing us locked in each other's arms, my Junior Sister shot us a disdainful glare. Blaze the Weasel, however, seethed with resentment. Lark, are you seriously still mad at me? You'd cling to him in public just to spite me. What will it take for you to forgive me? If I win first place in the trial and defeat this person, would you reconsider accepting me? I rolled my eyes at that delusional pest Blaze's words. Utterly insufferable, the Junior Sister rushed over to pull Blaze away. Senior Sister, I beg you, stop seducing my spirit beast. How can even a gluttonous Tautai not satisfy you? You're downright shameless. Nash couldn't stand others slandering me, revealing his true form with a deafening roar. Some people's mouths are too foul, they need a good washing. Then, a downpour fell only on Junior Sister Isolde, drenching her meticulously styled hair and smearing her makeup into a comical mess. Pointing at the gluttonous Nash, she shrieked, "Why you? Just you wait. When we enter the secret realm, you'll see how I deal with you." The scoundrel Snake Blaze, embarrassed by the Junior Sister, instinctively stepped back to distance himself before scurrying to my side. Lark, I was wrong. I was bewitched when I got together with her. Only afterward did I realize no one treats me as you once did. Isolde only covets my true dragon bloodline. She never truly loved me. You're the only one who's ever treated me well. In our past life, I was blind to betray you. Believe me, I've truly changed. Though the Junior Sister begged to form a bond, I refused every time. Even my body remains pure. I've kept myself chaste for you. I don't mind, you and him. Let's just start over. Tautai Nash's brows furrowed into deep creases upon hearing his shameless public confession. With a sharp slap across the face, she snapped, "Let me knock some sense into you. How dare you daydream about my wife in broad daylight?" Blaze had forcibly taken human form in this life with unstable foundations. The single strike actually made him cough up blood. I can't believe our Junior Sister actually thought some frail spirit beast could easily defeat me. What a joke. Shielding me protectively, Nash didn't spare them another glance as we entered the secret realm first. The fellow disciples kept their distance from them, afraid of catching bad luck. Senior Sister, don't stoop to Junior Sister's level. She's probably just green with envy to the point of losing her mind. Exactly, Senior Sister, don't let this ruin your mood. We all know your character. It's that slimy snake's fault, a toad lusting after a swan. Right, we're all waiting for your wedding toast with Brother Nash. Brother Nash, when did he get so chummy with my martial brothers? Noticing my surprised look, Nash gave me a praise-me glance, to which I responded with an approving smile. Once we entered the secret realm, Nash and I fought in perfect sync, cutting down demonic beasts left and right. Suddenly, a sinister gale swept through, darkening the skies as the demonic beasts scattered in panic. Nash shielded me. "Careful, something's off." My senior brothers rushed over, urging, "Eldest sister, demonic beasts are causing havoc. Contact the master now." I immediately sent a message to our master while covering the retreat for my fellow disciples. As the last of my brothers disappeared into the distance, two crimson eyes materialized in the mist ahead, accompanied by guttural growls. Soon, another pair of crimson eyes emerged behind us, hissing menacingly. As the mist cleared, those glowing red eyes belonged to none other than the nine-tailed fox we'd met before and the half-serpent Blaze. Dark tendrils of miasma coiled around them both. They'd clearly fallen to demonic corruption, with escape routes fore and aft cut off. Only Nash and I remained trapped. Soon an enchanting chime rang out as the junior sister emerged from the mist. Eldest sister, I warned you once we entered this realm, you'd regret everything you've done to me. What have you done? She shook the bell, and the nine-tailed fox obediently lowered itself as she mounted it. Did you forget? My birth mother was the holy maiden of Miaojiang. I never wanted to use goo magic on them. But that wretched snake Blaze, even after following me, he kept pining for you. Useless creature couldn't even ascend to dragonhood, making me the laughingstock of the sect, so I tricked him into swallowing a goo worm, turning him into a half-serpent. Now he obeys my every command when I ring this bell. What about the nine-tailed fox? He never wronged you, why harm him? The junior sister chuckled. No particular reason. This useless snake alone might not suffice. Wouldn't it be better to have an extra puppet at my disposal? Blame his lingering affection for me. The moment I pretended to weep, he came running. Eldest senior sister, save your pity for other spirit beasts. Soon yours will be mine too. After I defeat you, I'll feed it my own treasures, over my dead body. Oh, let's see who's stronger then. This mystic realm suppresses spirit beast cultivation. Your gluttonous fiend may be formidable, but now it's just at Foundation establishment level. Think it can beat me? Attack, tear them to shreds. Nash shielded me behind him, and I seized the moment to whisper something in his ear. After a glance my way, he reluctantly walked away. The junior sister burst into laughter at the sight. Birds and couples fly separately when disaster strikes. Seems your precious Nash isn't so reliable after all. Too scared to fight me. So he just ran away. How does it feel to be abandoned by your beloved? Again, I defeated you in our past life, and I'll crush you again in this one. You stand no chance. My head snapped up at her words, my eyes burning with rage. It's you? You've been reborn too? She smirked even wider. What? You just figured that out now? Then why didn't you choose Blaze from the start? Why would I? In our past life, he helped me ascend, but afterward, he kept whining day and night about how I wasn't as virtuous as you. How I didn't love him as much. I had to compete with a ghost every damn second. Do you have any idea how that felt? So I poisoned him, and guess what? Even in death, that bastard dragged me down with him. That's why I'm back too. I never imagined you'd be lucky enough to gain Tautia's favor. How dare you? This isn't fair. Fine, I'll just take Blaze instead. I'll plant a goo in him and make him my slave. That'll make up for the suffering I endured in my past life. At that moment, Blaze, still under the goo's control, seemed to regain a sliver of consciousness. Staggering, he lurched toward the junior sister. Why, you venomous witch. Without hesitation, the junior sister shook the bell again to force Blaze's obedience, just as Nash, who had fled earlier, suddenly reappeared behind her and lunged, severing her hand with a single bite. The junior sister let out an agonized scream. Help, my hand, my hand. The bell clattered to the ground, and Nash crushed it underfoot, revealing a squashed black insect oozing green blood. Utterly revolting. My master once told me about the Miaojiang mother-child goo worms, so I immediately recognized there must be goo inside that bell. My suspicion proved right. With the mother insect dead, Blaze and the nine-tailed fox lunged at our junior sister, seeking vengeance. Junior sister thrust her sword through Blaze's heart. I'll drag you down with me to hell. Blaze stared at his junior sister in disbelief. Impossible. I'm a true dragon. How could I die without even transforming in this lifetime? No, this can't be happening. With those words, his body melted into a pool of rotten flesh, collapsing onto the ground. The nine-tailed fox stood frozen, watching the scene unfold, as the junior sister whispered, I regret everything. I shouldn't have been so greedy in this life. If only I'd chosen to live peacefully with you, would I have avoided this fate? The nine-tailed fox struck her with a single palm strike. No, because greed like yours is insatiable. Even if you had my heart, you'd only trample it 100-fold without ever cherishing it. That strike hastened junior sister's demise. After expressing gratitude, the nine-tailed fox retreated to the mountains again, hoping time would clear the gloom in his heart. Emerging from the secret realm, my master and fellow disciples gathered around. Are you all right, child? Rest assured, master. Junior sister and that slippery serpent Blaze have been dealt with, the parasitic worms eradicated. It's all over now. By successfully resolving the crisis, I rightfully claimed the top spot in this trial. Our master presided over Nash's and my wedding ceremony, with auspicious clouds gracing the sky that very day. Nash ascended through the clouds and smoothly overcame his heavenly tribulation. Unlike the 18 thunderbolts he faced as the cunning serpent in his past life, this time He received divine blessings instead of calamities. A golden radiance enveloped our sect, enhancing everyone's spiritual power. After overcoming all trials, Nash returned to marry me. Lark, we'll never be apart. Story 2. A small-scale snowfall led me to predict that the doomsday of extreme cold was approaching, because my prediction hindered the progress of my boyfriend's childhood friend's project. My boyfriend reported me for fabricating the prediction and using public resources for personal gain. On the day I was placed on probation, my boyfriend's childhood friend mocked me, saying that it wasn't just a probation, I was about to lose my job soon. I glanced at the predicted date and cursed, "You idiots, although I'm losing my job, you're about to lose your lives." 1. Delilah. Do you really have to submit this prediction report? Cora's project is in full swing? Do you know how much impact it will have on her if the whole city stops working after you submit this report? Do you know how long she has been working hard on this project? There have been several small-scale snowfalls in Cydia recently. The snowfall was not significant and had no serious impact. However, I unexpectedly calculated the possibility of the doomsday of extreme cold. To support my calculation, I almost didn't sleep or rest and calculated it countless times. The results were all the same. A massive snow disaster apocalypse was approaching quietly. However, my boyfriend was now trying to stop me from submitting the prediction report, just so that his childhood friend Cora's project could proceed smoothly. In the Meteorological Research Institute, I looked at my boyfriend Joseph, who was being aggressive on Cora's behalf, and felt it was extremely ridiculous. Now the rush of people returning home for the holidays is in full swing. Without corresponding early warning measures at this time, do you know how many people who are eager to return home will die a violent death? I pointed at the numerous pieces of supporting data on the computer and asked him in return, "You also study this field, you can understand these, right? Is your childhood friend's project more important than people's lives?" Joseph impatiently cut off the power to all the computers directly. "Do you think you're writing a science fiction novel? The geological cycle has been stable for millions of years now. There's no way there could be such a huge snow disaster. I think you're just jealous of Cora because she became your superior as soon as she returned to the country." Delilah, you were never like this before. How could you have changed like this? I'm really disappointed in you. I wanted to say something more, but he cut me off mercilessly. "I'll just ask you one question. Are you going to send this report or not?" I looked into his eyes and didn't back down an inch. "Yes, I must send it. I couldn't joke with everyone's lives." 2. Joseph turned around and left, slamming the door loudly to express his dissatisfaction. I didn't have the time or energy to deal with Joseph's temper. After he left, I quickly sorted out all the data and sent it to the director. This early warning must be released in advance, and the earlier the better, so that everyone has enough time to prepare. But the director's phone seemed to be busy, and I couldn't get through all night. I had no choice but to leave him a message, thinking that I would go and discuss it with him early the next morning. The next day, I got up very early after a sleepless and anxious night and rushed to the research institute, but as soon as I entered the door, I found that the research position that originally belonged to me had been occupied by someone else. As for my things, they had all been thrown into the trash bin beside it, and the person doing the calculation at the position was Cora. She looked at me and blinked her eyes innocently. Joseph said that you might not be able to return to this position in the next half year anyway, since my project needs to use these tools. He let me take this position." Sister Delilah, you don't mind, do you? "Oh, right, you still don't know why, do you? The director is waiting for you in his office. Go in quickly." She was smiling and seemed to be in a good mood. Joseph walked in and naturally handed her breakfast. When he noticed my presence, he didn't even blink and just gave a cold snort. I sensed something was wrong and quickly walked towards the director's office. As soon as I pushed the door open, a bound report was thrown at me, hitting me right on the forehead. "Delilah, you've played a good trick of fabricating the prediction results and using public resources for personal gain." 3. I squatted down and picked up the report that was as thick as a brick. It was my printed prediction report. There was a big red cross marked on the cover. It contained evidence and various survival measures for dealing with the doomsday of extreme cold. All of this was sorted out by me bit by bit after staying up all night, but I guessed that the director hadn't read it. I suddenly laughed. "You still have the nerve to laugh. Do you also think your prediction is so ridiculous that you're laughing at your own stupidity?" Delilah, if Joseph hadn't told me, I really wouldn't have known that you had such great hostility towards Cora. You actually went so far as to waste the city's resources and manpower to stop her project. Do you know how much benefit Cora's project can bring to the Institute if it succeeds? Can you use your brain when you're being jealous and competitive?" As he scolded me, he played a recording. It was indeed my voice in the recording. The recording had been edited. After cutting off the beginning and the end, it became the absurd content of "Cora doesn't deserve to do the project. Cora should die." Looking at the director's appearance, I suddenly felt a bit tired and had nothing to say. So what's the punishment for me from the institute? The director's face was cold. It's preliminarily determined that you will be placed on probation for half a year. After half a year of assessment, if your performance is good, you can come back and start from the bottom. I nodded. When I turned to leave, I suddenly said, I still hope that the director can take a good look at my report. I didn't fabricate it. He slammed his hand on the table. Look at what? Just looking at this stack of bricks makes me angry. Get out of here right now. After closing the door, I took a deep breath. If I can't release the early warning in an official capacity, in what way should I remind others? While I was thinking about this, Cora came up to me. Other staff members also came to their workstations one after another. At the moment, they were all looking at me with strange expressions. Joseph was carrying a box, which contained some things that Cora hadn't had time to throw away. Almost all of them were commemorative couple items that Joseph and I had. Delilah, go home and calm down by yourself. After the director's anger subsides, I'll plead for you so that you can come back to work earlier. Cora looked at me with her arms crossed in a look of contempt. Sigh, Sister Delilah, you really cause a lot of trouble for Joseph. He's already busy with his work. You're so inconsiderate. It's good that you go home and calm down. Don't bring your personal emotions to work in the future. Some staff members echoed her. We really should thank Joseph for putting public interests above family loyalty, otherwise, we don't know how much trouble she would have caused us. I took the box from Joseph's hand and then, in front of him, dumped everything into the trash bin. Trash should stay in the trash bin. Joseph's face looked extremely ugly. When I walked out the door, Cora followed me all the way to the door. Just get out of here. You thought it was just a probation. No, it's not. I told the director that I was heartbroken by you. If you don't leave, I'll resign. And then, you know what I mean, you should receive the notice of dismissal soon. I looked at the sky outside. At the moment, it was a strange white. There was no snow, no sun, and not a single cloud. It was quiet and dead. The perceived temperature was slowly dropping at a rate that I could feel. I turned around and smiled at Cora. You idiots. I'm losing my job, but you're about to lose your lives. When I got home, I unceremoniously packed all of Joseph's things and threw them into the trash bin. Then I quickly contacted a decoration company to reinforce all the doors and windows of my house, and I asked them to install thermal insulation materials in all the places where they could be installed inside the room as quickly as possible. I also invited a locksmith to come and change the lock to a bulletproof level. According to the prediction, this doomsday of extreme cold would arrive in 10 days, and the temperature would reach a terrifying -80 or 90 degrees Celsius. Such a temperature only appears in the cold Antarctica. Without corresponding thermal insulation measures, it would almost only take an instant for a person to freeze stiff. After that small snowfall, the temperature rebounded. Currently, the temperature reported by the weather forecast was around 0 degrees Celsius, and everyone wasn't wearing too much. I'm very sensitive to temperature. Now, the perceived temperature in City A is definitely not just around 0 degrees Celsius. I kept thinking about how I should notify the public to pay attention to this crisis. Suddenly, I saw a post on a certain platform. I feel that the weather forecast is getting more and more inaccurate. It reports 0 degrees Celsius, but I don't know why it's especially cold. This post was very popular. In the comments section, people were vehemently criticizing the unreliable weather forecast. Among the laughter and jokes, still no one took this strange phenomenon seriously. I quickly sent a private message to the poster. I posted a long comment related to the disaster warning, hoping to attract everyone's attention and make them prepare early. I also posted a series of emergency response plans for snow disasters, hoping to help everyone. But there were too many comments in the comments section, and my comment was quickly drowned out among the other comments. I asked the poster to pin my long comment so that more people could see it. I waited for a long time but didn't receive a reply, but the background clearly showed that the poster was online. This post gave me a new idea. I imitated the title of this post and then posted relevant pictures and texts on various platforms, and I called on everyone to make emergency response plans. I don't know how many people can see it, but I can save one person at a time. I tirelessly posted one post after another until it got dark. The decoration workers took a break during this time and looked at their phones. When they started working again, I could feel the strange looks they were giving me. At the same time, there were message icons in the background of my account on that platform, followed by a series of messages from other platforms bombarding me. I thought that the posts I had made had taken effect. I clicked into that platform first. It was the poster replying to me. Delilah, are you crazy? What's the benefit of what you're doing? Will my project stop because you're spreading panic? The director has been struggling to find a reason to fire you. No, great, you've really given me something to hold against you. After reading the reply, I suddenly realized that the poster was Cora. And those messages in the uproarious background were indeed because the posts had become popular, but almost all of them were people coming to scold me. I flipped through the local trending searches. # a certain meteorological researcher fabricated the prediction results for personal gain and is now inciting the public to create panic #. A call suddenly came in. It was Joseph. Delilah, no. Immediately. Delete those posts right away. The probation report about you has just been submitted. Now you're inciting the public again. Are you crazy? I've seen your data. Don't you think these data are strange? I'm more inclined to think that you made a mistake with the decimal point when you were calculating, which caused the result to be magnified hundreds of times. Listen, I'm not blaming you for this. It's understandable for you, as a girl, to be jealous. But you can't ruin your own future just because of this and act out of spite. Listening to him lecturing me in a serious manner, acting as if he was doing it for my own good, I couldn't help but laugh out loud. What are you laughing at? Wait for me. I'm coming back now. No, you don't need to come back. In my house, bitches and idiots are not allowed to enter. After saying that, I hung up the phone. 5. He must have been very angry with what I said, because Joseph didn't come to find me. I went to look at that trending search. The content of the trending search included that recording of me with the beginning and end cut off, and the message of the prediction report I sent to the director. Cora can be considered an internet celebrity in this field. She became famous earlier because of her good science popularization and her good looks. She has a lot of fans online, under the deliberate promotion of her fans. Almost all the real-time content under this trending search was scolding me. Everyone says that a timely snow promises a good harvest. With this snowfall before the spring festival, I was really happy. I had already bought a ticket and was looking forward to going home happily, but then I came across this unlucky post, telling me not to go out on the day I go home. Do you know how annoyed I am? I'm just a bystander. I just think it's a bit too ridiculous to predict the doomsday of extreme cold because of a small snowfall. Although the temperature recently has been really strange, it's still within the normal range. An insider is speaking up. This researcher has been unhappy with Cora for a long time. Now, I guess she finally couldn't hold it in anymore. She's probably afraid that Cora will be promoted if the project is successful. Anyway, I'm really speechless, as a researcher. She still wants to be jealous and engage in internal strife over such a serious matter. Isn't she being cheap? With a Wu Jing-like expression. Soon, the official account of the Research Institute posted a statement. The relevant researcher has been placed on probation. Please rest assured, citizens, carry out your normal work and travel and don't panic. The trending search quickly topped the list. A wave of scolding came one after another, and the situation was the same below each of my posts. No one believed me. At this time, Cora came out to speak. Cora v. I'm sorry for taking up public resources, it's just a small personal conflict. She wasn't very rational. I also hope that everyone won't attack her with extreme remarks and won't conduct cyber manhunt searches on her. It's getting cold, pay attention to keeping warm, carry out your normal work and travel, and finally, I wish you all a happy new year. The accompanying picture was a candid photo of her making a heart gesture. As soon as this statement came out, it quickly won everyone's favor. Everyone praised her for being beautiful, kind-hearted, not holding grudges, and repaying evil with good. They almost used all the beautiful adjectives on her. Even the marketing account seized this wave of popularity and made a bunch of videos with titles like "Girls, Who Understands? There's actually such a beautiful, capable, and kind top student in the field of geography." Cora grasped this wave of popularity very well. Stepping on me, she occupied the trending search for several days. Unlike her sweet words on the internet, in the WeChat messages she sent to me privately, she was frantically shouting, "Delilah, you idiot, you're completely finished now. Have you received the dismissal notice? I'm sure that in the next few years, no unit in the relevant industry will dare to hire you, unless they don't care about their reputation. Delilah, are you satisfied with this result?" I didn't reply to her. I hid all my posts, but I didn't delete them. Everyone said I was feeling guilty. I took screenshots of the vicious comments under the trending search, and also saved screenshots of the statements made by the Research Institute and Cora. Let them make a fuss. The bigger the fuss, the better. It would be best if everyone knew about it. I've done everything I could. It would be the best if someone prepared in advance because of my warning, but even if not, I still have a clear conscience. As for Cora and Joseph, I'm not a pushover and won't let them insult me at will. But I won't let them die defenseless in the snow disaster either. That would be too easy and boring. 6. 3 days before the predicted arrival of the doomsday of extreme cold, I properly stocked up on all the supplies, and the room was also renovated very well. At the same time, I left enough cold protection supplies for one person in the house across the door, but I hid them all and locked them up. There are 2 households on each floor with 1 elevator, in fact. The house across the door is Joseph's. At that time, he moved in on the grounds that living together was suitable for enhancing the relationship, and he took for granted the convenience brought to him by my efforts. His own house has been vacant for a long time. Moreover, he hasn't come back during this period, perhaps because he was angry with me. He has been posting on his moments very frequently these days. In almost every photo, he would inadvertently reveal some features of Cora. Cora's moments is the same. Some colleagues asked jokingly if they were going to officially announce their relationship, and also asked in a sarcastic way if he had broken up with a brainless person like me. In the last 3 days, the temperature was actually already very low. The temperature in City A has dropped below the lowest value in the history of City A, but because of the celebrity effect of Cora, the beautiful top student in geography. And the sentence, carry out your normal work and travel, that would be repeatedly emphasized when she was on the trending search. Everyone believed it deeply and felt relieved. No one worried that something really would go wrong. Late at night on the second last day, because the doomsday was approaching, I had some trouble falling asleep. Suddenly, the surveillance camera outside the door reminded me that there was someone outside. I got up and took a look at the surveillance. It was interesting. It was actually Joseph and Cora. The two of them were acting sneaky, looking around from time to time, for fear of being discovered. Logically speaking, Joseph was going back to his own home, not doing something like a thief, so there was no need for him to be so cautious. But I noticed several large boxes at the feet of the two of them. I couldn't see some of the boxes clearly and didn't know what was inside, but the outer packaging of one box was very obvious. It was a large box of warm baby patches. It was reasonable to infer that these large boxes should all contain cold protection supplies. The surveillance camera picked up voices. It was Cora's voice, who was worried and shivering. Joseph, is it really okay for us to do this? Won't we be discovered? I don't think the temperature has reached the point where we need to prepare like this, and isn't Delilah living across the door? What if she sees us and reports us? Oh. It seemed that the two of them thought the temperature was a bit strange and were afraid that my prediction would come true. They were also afraid of being found out for their hypocritical behavior, so they came to hoard supplies secretly in the middle of the night. The two of them carried the supplies into the house box by box, and Joseph patiently answered her questions. It's okay, it's better to be prepared. There is no surveillance camera at the door, and it's late at night now. She won't be able to find out. I don't live in this house, and no one will suspect. Her fingerprint is not recorded. After we finish moving the supplies, I'll change the password, and then it will be safe. We still need to prepare. If there is no snow disaster, it doesn't matter. If we are really discovered, we can say that Delilah deliberately put these things here to frame us. Anyway, I left Delilah's name when I bought these things online. Don't worry. Only then did Cora feel relieved. After the two of them moved the supplies and changed the password, they left. No one noticed the surveillance camera in the hidden corner across the door at all. After they left, I opened the door. In my hand was the lock-picking tool that I had bought at a high price from the locksmith. TSK, I wonder if the two of them will be surprised and shocked when they come here to escape the disaster and find the room empty. 7. The last day before the doomsday of extreme cold. I had made all the preparations and basically didn't go out anymore. As for the supplies that Joseph and Cora had moved here, they were all with me now. When I got up this morning, it was especially cold even indoors. I put on a thick pajamas and got up to take a look out the window. The sky outside the window was still that dead white, but it was still quiet, and there was no sign of snow. I stretched the thermometer outside to measure the temperature. It was very abnormal. When I brought it in, I found that it was already minus 15 degrees Celsius, although it was still within the range that the human body could tolerate. The weather forecast yesterday showed that the lowest temperature today was only minus 1 degree Celsius. About half an hour later, after I had a hot breakfast, I stretched the thermometer out again to measure the temperature. This time, it was minus 18 degrees Celsius. The rate of temperature drop was very strange. Faster than the cumulative drop in the previous few days. These days, from time to time, someone would pull me out to mock me, and then bring up Cora to praise her a great deal. Recently, no one on the internet didn't know this beautiful top student in the geography department. She almost used up my last bit of value to build momentum and establish her persona for herself. But the reason why I was so certain and dared to submit the report was that before making this incredible prediction, I was afraid that my prediction was wrong, so I almost calculated it countless times. All the results I got were exactly the same. Now, with such a rate of temperature drop, I became more and more certain the doomsday of extreme cold was approaching, but today was also the peak of the rush of people returning home for the holidays. The street was actually very lively. Cora especially sent me a video early in the morning just to make me unhappy. In the video, she was dressed warmly, and Joseph was patiently wrapping a scarf around her. She looked at the camera with a provocative look and then asked Joseph in a soft voice, "Joseph, where are we going to eat hot pot?" The The street is so lively today. It seems that everyone has been infected by the atmosphere and has come out to go shopping. I wonder how Sister Delilah is doing now. Does she dare to go out? Joseph's cold voice came. Does she dare to go out? If she goes out, she will be treated like a rat crossing the street and be shouted at by everyone. I'll take you to a newly opened Sichuan-flavored hot pot restaurant on the street to keep out the cold. Cora tipped Joseph's arm and happily agreed. The video ended there, and I pulled back the hand holding the thermometer. It was minus 20 degrees Celsius. At the same time, the snow outside the window started to fall quietly. At first, this sudden snowfall, accompanied by the rush of people returning home for the holidays, seemed just right. Most people on the internet were just saying that a timely snow promised a good harvest and that it must be a good omen. The people waiting for the train at the station to return home were also in a good mood, with happy and content smiles on their faces. As the snow gradually changed from light snow to heavy snow, people felt that their cold protection clothes seemed to have failed. Gradually, some people began to feel that something was wrong, but once someone posted a question asking if it was abnormal, they would be attacked by Cora's fanatical fans and be accused of spreading rumors and meddling, so such questions no longer appeared. The snow was falling heavier and heavier, and people didn't dare to ask because of the pressure of online violence. Here, the person that those fanatical fans supported, Cora, at first was almost live-streaming the sweet scenes of her and Joseph to me in real time, until the snow, which was getting heavier and heavier, fell thickly and soon piled up into a thick layer, and Cora no longer sent messages to harass me. I took a look at a collapsed wire outside the window. I guessed that there was no signal on the mobile phone. The snow started falling at 3 p.m., and in less than 4 hours, it became more and more violent, almost blocking out the sky and the sun, and even affecting people's normal line of sight. More and more wires were collapsed, utility poles were broken, and even the signal tower had problems. The signal on my side was barely holding up. Soon, the surveillance camera outside the door reminded me that someone had appeared. It must be Joseph and Cora. Joseph, is it necessary for us to hide here? It's just a heavy snowfall. I still have a live broadcast tonight. How can I prepare like this? Joseph seemed a bit anxious and rarely didn't agree with her. Listen to me, we'll hide here today. There are sufficient supplies here. If the snow stops tomorrow, we can leave. I hope it's just an ordinary heavy snowfall. At the same time, a piece of news quickly topped the trending search. #heavy snowstorm is coming. The rush of people returning home for the holidays is suspended. Is the prediction true? There were still Cora's fans being stubborn. Are you already worried that it's the end of the world? If you were in the north, you'd probably be scared to death every day. You're making a big fuss. I'm going to have a snowball fight. Snow. I'm going to build a snowman. Some people supported it, while others were scared. Those who were scared wanted to go out to hoard supplies, but because they had no preparation before and the roads were difficult to travel on and the supermarkets had closed early, they were very worried at the moment. They were laughed at by the fans as being overly worried. Here, Joseph and Cora opened the door. Joseph, I'm so cold. Can you spread out the electric blanket later? I also installed a pinhole camera in the room. Joseph didn't respond to her. Cora turned her head blankly and followed Joseph's fierce gaze. There were no supplies left at all. Joseph punched the wall. Damn it, Delilah. It must be Delilah. I guessed that Joseph's fist was as hard as a rock from the cold, at this moment. When it collided with the cold wall, I saw his face contort for a moment. Cora didn't have much courage and would only cry when something happened. Joseph's angry shout startled her, and she started crying anxiously. She pulled on Joseph's sleeve and asked him in a trembling voice what they should do. Maybe we should go back to my house. There's nothing here, and we'll freeze to death. Joseph's mood was not right. He pointed at the heavy snow outside the window that had completely blocked the view. Go back? How can we go back in this situation? You should think before you speak. Cora showed weakness and gently apologized, and Joseph's mood eased a bit. He always fell for this, but in the end, in the face of life and death, all forms of acting coquettishly would be useless. Joseph finally found a quilt that he hadn't used for a long time in the closet. It wasn't thick enough, but there was no other way. The two of them curled up together and wrapped the quilt tightly around themselves. Even so, the two of them still kept shivering. At this time, Joseph still had some feelings of pity for the fairer sex. He would desperately rub his hands warm to warm Cora, and then experience the pleasure of being a hero in Cora's countless thank yous. This was the first night, and the two of them snuggled up and fell asleep with difficulty. At this time, the outdoor temperature was minus 35 degrees Celsius. What the two of them didn't know is that as the first body that was frozen to death at the station at night was discovered, more and more bodies appeared on the trending search. Only then did people realize in horror that my prediction seemed to be really accurate. People didn't have time to delve into how many people Cora's words had actually killed. Those who were close to the mall could only rush out in the wind and snow to grab supplies. If the supermarket was closed, they would break in. If the convenience store had locked the door in advance, some people would even start chopping with an axe. Under the heavy snow that filled the sky, the noise, crying, blood, and screams were intertwined, which was shocking. Some people even took the opportunity to do zero-yuan purchases, grabbing valuable things and running away. Under the threat to life brought by the arrival of the apocalypse, the evil of human nature was fully exposed. After surviving the first night, Joseph was woken up by the cold. Almost all of the quilt on his body had been taken by Cora, and his eyes looked a bit menacing, but he still pursed his lips and stood by the window, wanting to see the current situation. Unfortunately, the snow didn't stop, and it even became heavier. There were no pedestrians outside the window, only broken trees. Judging by eye, the snow accumulation had reached up to the position of an average person's thigh. It only took less than a day. Joseph clenched his fists and closed his eyes tightly. Joseph, I'm so hungry and cold. Cora seemed to think of something suddenly and raised her head abruptly. Joseph, Delilah must have a lot of supplies. Let's trick her into opening the door and then push that bitch out. The light in Joseph's eyes lit up, and I smiled. He came to my door. He banged on the door vigorously. Delilah, you won. You were right. Let me in. I don't blame you anymore. At this moment, I was sipping hot milk tea and deliberately turned on the intercom function of the surveillance camera outside. I'm sure he heard my satisfied sigh. Cora, wrapped in a quilt and shivering, stood behind him and was also showing weakness to me at the moment. I slumped lazily on the sofa, and my lazy voice reached the ears of the two of them. Did you forget what I said? No bitches or idiots are allowed in my house. The faces of the two of them were extremely terrible looking. I picked up my phone and sent a message to Joseph. Under the bed in the guest room of your house, there is self-heating rice for one person and warm baby patches for one person. How about it? I'm pretty nice to you, right? That was the amount for one person for a day. Then I sent a message to Cora. This would be the first and last message I sent to her. In the fourth compartment of the third layer of the storage cabinet in the utility room, there is an axe. Come on, stay alive. 9. The two of them returned to the room with their own thoughts, but neither of them told the other about the messages they received. As soon as Joseph returned to the room, he pursed his lips and entered the guest room, but to my surprise, he didn't keep that precious self-heating rice for himself. Instead, he took it out and shared it with Cora. Well, without having truly felt the threat of death yet, he still had a bit of love left. Cora was extremely touched. The two of them shared the food, taking turns to have a bite. It seemed so warm and sweet, but she still didn't tell him about the axe. At the same time, the elevator, which hadn't lost power yet, rang. The man who came out was a fierce-looking muscular man, if I wasn't mistaken. He was also holding a long stick in his hand. I recognized him. He was a resident downstairs and not easy to get along with. His target wasn't me but Joseph's house. Bang, bang, bang. The knock on the door sounded, startling the two people inside the house. Joseph put down the lunchbox and got up cautiously to look outside through the peephole, but as if he had a sixth sense, the man suddenly leaned right up to the peephole. It gave Joseph quite a fright. Open the door. I know there's someone in there. My wife and daughter have been hungry for a whole day. I know you guys secretly brought a lot of things here in the middle of the night a few days ago. Lend me some, I can pay for them. He didn't notice me because when I was transporting the supplies, I basically avoided the time when he was at home. As for Joseph, apart from him noticing it himself, I also reported in the homeowners group on that day that the opposite door was too noisy. He could naturally make the connection. Cora pulled Joseph and shook her head at him. The two of them didn't make a sound and tacitly agreed not to open the door. The muscular man waited for a long time with no response and was already very impatient. Damn it, you hoarded so many things and don't want to save lives. Huh, just you wait. Without saying another word, he swung the long stick and started smashing the lock. With each bang, it made the two people in the house extremely nervous. This fragile lock couldn't withstand the brute force of the muscular man and soon gave way and was destroyed. The muscular man burst into the room, and Cora, almost in an instant, used all her strength to push Joseph out. Big brother, it's him. He wouldn't let me open the door. You go after him. It has nothing to do with me. 10. I could clearly see on the surveillance camera the expression of disbelief on Joseph's face after he was pushed out. It was even uglier than having eaten a fly. After pushing Joseph, Cora shrank into the corner, hugged her head, and didn't dare to make a sound. As for Joseph, he didn't have time to settle the score with Cora. The muscular man grabbed him by the collar and slammed him against the wall several times, and blood started to flow from his forehead. The muscular man questioned him. You look decent, but you won't even share a bit of supplies with me. Then don't blame me for taking them by force. After scolding The muscular man threw Joseph aside and started searching the whole room, but he found nothing. The enraged muscular man picked up the terrified Joseph again and slapped him twice in the face. "Where did you hide the supplies? If you don't tell me now, and I find them later, you're dead." Joseph stared fixedly at Cora. Suddenly, he raised his hand and pointed at the opposite door with a trembling voice. "My door, big brother. I really don't have any here. It's across the way. It's all over there. She not only hoarded a lot of things herself but also stole mine. You go and ask her for them, big brother. Go and smash her door. I really don't have anything here." The man looked around suspiciously. Indeed, he couldn't find anything, so he came to my door and repeated the same process. He still held the long stick that had smashed Joseph's door lock in his hand. Joseph stepped back with lingering fear, and there was a hint of vengeful pleasure in his eyes. I lounged leisurely on the recliner and didn't respond no matter how the muscular man knocked on the door. The muscular man lost his patience and started raising the long stick to smash at my door lock. "Smash away. Go ahead. If you can break it open, I'll admit defeat." After the renovation, I even tried with a chainsaw and failed. The chainsaw got damaged. What's brute force compared to that? Moreover, I had set up an alarm at my door when there were suspicious people. It would spray water directly. It was already -40 degrees Celsius. Water would turn into ice instantly. The water column sprayed onto the man, turned into ice cubes, and got into his collar, making him shiver from the cold. Failing to break the door and getting a shock from the cold, the man erupted after a moment of silence. "Damn it, you dare to play tricks on me." Joseph was again pressed against the wall and hit his head against it. His entire forehead was covered in blood and flesh. The muscular man stopped when he ran out of strength. After kicking Joseph, he left. Joseph lay on the ground like a pile of mud, and the blood he spat out quickly froze. He slowly crawled into the door, looked up, and asked Cora, "Are you satisfied?" 11. Cora replied to him with a sobbing voice, "What could I do? If I didn't do that, I would have been beaten to death." Joseph didn't respond to her and struggled to get up. Cora flatteringly stuck the warm baby patches on him, but he didn't react much. The two of them spent the second day in silence. At this moment, the temperature had reached -60 degrees Celsius, the signal started to be unstable, coming and going, and the power system also began to malfunction. People in the homeowners group kept crying for help, asking for cold protection supplies and food, but basically, no one responded. Everyone was trying to protect themselves. At this time, if someone revealed that they had supplies at home, it would undoubtedly be courting death. I basically stayed in bed to conserve my strength. Although I had prepared enough rechargeable electric blankets and warm baby patches, the heat they generated was limited. They could only keep me from freezing to death, and I didn't want to waste it. I sent a message to Joseph. It was the single-person portion of supplies for the next day. Joseph checked the message while avoiding Cora. He got up, using going to the bathroom as an excuse, and went to the bathroom. When Cora realized that there was a smell coming from the bathroom, Joseph had already finished eating with the door locked. This time, he didn't leave her any. When Cora realized this, she took another look at my message. Was she confirming the location of the axe? Joseph came out as if nothing had happened. Facing Cora's resentful gaze, he didn't react at all, and I, taking advantage of the signal about to disappear, informed Joseph of all the single-person supplies for about the next month. These supplies might not be enough for a single person to use, but they could maintain the minimum vital signs for a person to survive. If my prediction was accurate enough, this doomsday of extreme cold would probably last for about a month. After a month, who would be the one to survive? 12. Before the power system collapsed, there were several groups of people searching around, because climbing over walls from the outdoor environment at -80 degrees Celsius would definitely lead to death from the cold. These people robbing supplies could only travel by the elevators that hadn't malfunctioned yet. Joseph's door lock was broken, and the two of them basically had no ability to fight back. Their home was searched everywhere, since no usable supplies were found. They just got beaten and kicked a few times. Some people even suggested that when the two of them froze to death here and there was really no food, they would divide and eat them. This scared Cora into a breakdown and she burst into tears. She pointed at my door and said that I must have supplies. As a result, a group of people smashed and kicked at my door, but my door remained unshaken. The group of people were extremely angry, and Cora and Joseph got beaten again. Joseph just remained silent and didn't say a word. Later, the power system completely collapsed, and all the signals disappeared. I locked the stairwell on my floor, the elevator stopped operating, and no one came up anymore. The surveillance camera lost its signal, and I stopped observing it. I just counted the calendar every day, hoping that the doomsday would pass quickly. On the 15th day, the temperature had reached a terrifying -80 degrees Celsius. The heavy snow outside the window hardly ever stopped. At this rate, Some of the lower floor residents should have been buried in the snow. I no longer held the thermometer and reached out to measure the outdoor temperature because my hand would be directly frozen and disabled. I almost buried myself in the quilt every day. It was really too cold. It was on this day that, in a drowsy state, I heard a scream outside the door, a man's scream, following that were faint sounds of pleading for mercy and crying, which I couldn't hear clearly, but it seemed to be of no use. I also heard the huge sound of a blade chopping through bones, bang after bang, chop after chop. It was terrifying. 13. On the 25th day, the temperature dropped below my estimate and reached a terrifying -90 degrees Celsius. Fortunately, it hit rock bottom and then rebounded. On the 26th day, it started to rise slowly. On the 30th day, I unexpectedly found that the signal started to appear faintly. On the 35th day of the doomsday, the snow stopped. The temperature rose back to -30 degrees Celsius. We heard the voice of the rescue team for the first time. This was undoubtedly the best news, but in our building, I didn't hear much cheering. Probably, not many people survived. So, what about the opposite side? On the 40th day of the doomsday, the temperature returned to 0 degrees Celsius, the clouds disperse, and people saw the sunlight after the doomsday for the first time. It symbolized a new beginning. I finally crawled out from under the thick quilt that almost crushed me to death to welcome this ray of sunlight. On the 41st day of the doomsday, after all-out emergency repairs, the power system and the signal were all restored. I finally turned on the air conditioner to keep warm and let out a satisfied sigh. At the same time, I heard a cheer coming from the opposite side. It was a woman's voice. I survived. I survived. I'm still alive. Then there was a violent fit of coughing. All the social media apps started to operate again. All the top trending searches were about this unprecedented and terrifying snow disaster doomsday. The homeowners group was completely silent. The second trending search, right after the doomsday topic, was a shocking report. Hashtag the rush of people returning home became a tide of corpses. Hashtag specific reports on the number of deaths during the rush of people returning home in various places. Hashtag whether they were travelers waiting at the train station or at the airport, because they didn't have enough cold protection measures and food, and the rescue was difficult to carry out due to the heavy snow. Almost none of them were spared. The train stations and airports in various places almost became huge mortuaries one after another. As for the vehicles that were already on the road, they were also hard to escape the disaster and slowly died in the massive traffic jam. Everyone was full of excitement and anticipation to go home but died at the starting point or on the way home. This doomsday almost took away nearly 1/3 of the population. So, what was the source? If emergency response plans had been made in advance, would the results still be so shocking? I looked at Cora, who was so excited that she was almost crazy, and smiled silently. The doomsday she should face had just arrived. 14. Joseph was dead, but the police only found a pile of remains. He had been eaten. I made all the hidden posts public and also published new posts with the content being the screenshots I had saved before. It instantly topped the trending search. Cora's fanatical fans no longer spoke up. Maybe they felt guilty, or maybe they simply didn't survive. To support my calculation, I almost didn't sleep or rest and calculated it countless times. All the results I got were the same. She waited. She even rushed out, wanting to go home to welcome her new life and celebrate that she had survived. But as soon as she rushed out, she was recognized by people. The first person stopped her, his eyes red, kicked her, slapped her, and demanded that she return his parents. The name Cora was now extremely well known. Then came the second person, the third person. Some used their hands and feet, and some used kitchen knives. More and more people gathered around. They were filled with grief and indignation and couldn't calm down. When the police arrived, everyone scattered like birds and beasts, leaving only Cora lying in a pool of blood. She stared with her eyes wide open, unable to rest in peace. Story 2. In the icy apocalypse, I awakened a safe house system with unlimited heating. Unexpectedly, my mother turned out to be a saint, seeing that I had plenty of supplies. She not only invited all our relatives over, calling it a grand family reunion for the new year, but she even went out of her way to open our doors to the neighbors. Come in, everyone, come warm up in our house, have some food, don't go hungry. My mother's flamboyant actions attracted many people. The supplies I had painstakingly saved up were quickly depleted by the increasing number of people flooding in. Eventually, word spread and attracted a group of burly men. When the supplies ran out, they chose to kill me and eat my flesh. After being reborn, I found myself back on the day I had just brought my mother to the safe house. How is it so warm here? That's really nice. Let's see, you've hoarded so much stuff. What will you do if you can't finish it? The moment I opened my eyes, there was my mother, making a fuss. My eyes were red as I looked at her, a whirlwind of complicated emotions surging within me. In my previous life, it only took half a month for the extreme cold to set in. In our southern city, where it had never snowed before, the temperature plummeted to -40 degrees Celsius. At first, many people thought it was just an anomaly in the weather, but I knew the icy apocalypse was coming, because I was bound to the safehouse system, and its predictions about when the temperature would drop and when it would snow were exactly as it happened in reality, so I no longer took it lightly. Fortunately, this 200 square meter safe house, complete with a basement, had enough space for me to stockpile a substantial amount of supplies. After I frantically finished buying supplies, I brought my mother over, planning for just the two of us to survive together, but my mother didn't believe in any apocalypse. She made a big fuss about the supplies I had gathered. "Why do you need so much stuff? Just share it, otherwise, it's just taking up space." I got angry with her, but she just dismissed it casually. "What apocalypse? I think you've read too many books like this. Why don't you bring over your big uncle and aunties? They are freezing too. We have enough to share with them, and we can all have a lively New Year's celebration together. Wouldn't that be wonderful?" "Mom, no matter how much supplies we have, they are still limited. What will we eat if they finish everything?" I yelled at her, but she still argued back. "Isn't that a bit much? Families should help each other out. What's wrong with sharing a little surplus? Being kind-hearted is important. Our house is so warm, and others don't even have a place to shelter from the wind. How can you bear to see that? How did I raise such a selfish daughter? Just share a little. What harm could that do? It's the new year. Don't be so stingy." "Okay, having a daughter like you is really embarrassing." I couldn't stand up to my mother, and in the end, not only did she invite her relatives over, but she also took in several neighbors who were frozen stiff. That was a mistake. Originally, after stockpiling supplies, our home was just spacious enough for two people to move around, but after my mother brought in a bunch of random people, the space in the house was squeezed to the limit. Even standing room to sleep was scarce. The beds were occupied by my uncles, and I, as the owner of the safe house, could only sleep on the floor near the toilet. The floor was so crowded that there wasn't even space to stretch out. And every day I had to put up with the stench of my neighbor's feet, making it hard to breathe. I also had to share the cramped space with my uncle's thuggish son, who took advantage of the darkness to occasionally grope me. But that wasn't even the worst part. The worst part was that, in an effort to be a gracious host, my mother, she seemed to pause for a moment, processing my words, but then her own fear surfaced. "Are we really going to be that selfish, to keep everything to ourselves?" I looked at her, a mix of frustration and desperation in my eyes, and responded firmly, "It's not about being selfish, Mom, it's about survival. Last time, our generosity didn't save us, it destroyed us." She was silent, seemingly caught in a struggle between her instincts to share and the harsh reality I presented. I could see the conflict within her, the desire to be the good person she always was, but also the fear of repeating our past mistakes. "Mom," I continued, my voice softening, "we need to think strategically. We can help others in ways that don't jeopardize our own safety." Gradually, she nodded, understanding the gravity of our situation and the lessons from our past life that had come back so vividly to haunt us. Together, we decided to manage our resources wisely, promising to support each other and survive. No matter what the future held, she still stood on the moral high ground, casually accusing me, "You're exaggerating way too much. You don't understand love at all. It's like you've wasted your education," she said. "We're a family, we should share everything. If someone in the family lacks something, of course, we should help out. How can you be so selfish? What will others think of us? How can I face our relatives in the future?" "Fine, really fine. Even if I had another chance, I wouldn't change my ways." I looked at her coldly, and without hesitation, I locked the safe house to its highest security level. Under my mother's astonished gaze, I spoke clearly and deliberately. "I'll lay it out here. No one else can enter. This is my house. Mom, either we stay here together, or you leave too." Under the influence of my assertiveness, my mother finally calmed down. From the window, the extreme cold world outside was nothing but pure white. The doors were frozen shut, and my mother finally started to settle down and just focus on our own lives. But then she opened the property management group chat and saw everyone begging for help. Her compassionate heart stirred again. Since I wouldn't let her send messages or reveal our address, she didn't make a fuss but just looked at me with tears in her eyes. "My child, how can you be so heartless? We're all in the same boat, and we have so much." I was tormented by her tears. Was I not willing to be kind? Did I enjoy nitpicking? Didn't I want to be known as a good person? But with my current capabilities, being able to take good care of my own mother was already an achievement. "This weather will continue for at least 2 years, Mom. We simply don't have the resources to help others. You can predict the future now." 2 years, you're even more accurate than the Weather Bureau," my mother retorted sarcastically. I couldn't tell her that I had access to a system, but given the current conditions, shouldn't she also guess that I knew something she didn't, otherwise? Why were others nearly freezing to death while our house was warm and we had plenty to eat? I took a deep breath and ignored her, unexpectedly. In the bathroom, she secretly sent a message to our relatives. Big brother, are you there? My mother sent a voice message. You look so cold, we have plenty of food and the heating is strong, feel free to come over anytime. I wanted to come and get you, but Nora must be crazy. She not only stops me vigorously but also won't let me tell you the address. She doesn't care about you, but I do. The bathroom door wasn't soundproof. I just listened as my mother rambled into the phone, complaining about me. Suddenly, I lost all reason and, in a frenzy, smashed open the bathroom door. And then crushed her phone into pieces. I couldn't let her repeat the mistakes of the past. I thought that would be the end of it, but unexpectedly, the message had already been sent, and that group of relatives immediately added me to a group chat to berate me. My eldest uncle was the first to start. You heartless beast, we're all family. Are you going to just watch us die? That was too harsh. My aunt tried to mediate. Nora, don't blame your uncle for being harsh. We're all one family. Your two brothers are about to freeze out there, and here you are cozy at home. How can you stand to see them suffering like that without feeling guilty? How can you comfortably hide at home and enjoy yourself? Look, how about I just don't visit your house? Would that be okay? We won't disturb you. Just show a little mercy and send over some food. I'm begging you. As an elder, Auntie sighed too. Nora, you've really disappointed me. I've doted on you for nothing all these years. Didn't I always buy you snacks when you were a child? Now that you're capable, you won't even lend a hand. You shouldn't forget your roots. Exactly. How can you be so cold-hearted? Who will help you if you ever find yourself in trouble in the future? Such heartlessness. Complete ingrate. Everyone positioned themselves on a moral high ground, each remark painting me as some unforgivable villain. But in my past life, when I had taken them into my home, I was the one who served them tea and water. I was the one who served them meals. I was also the one who was sexually harassed. Later, when those villains came, my uncle, trying to save himself, pushed me out first. Just kill her. She's young. Her flesh is tender. At that time, as I was carried onto the stretcher, all my relatives watched indifferently. None of them stood up for me. Even my aunt breathed a sigh of relief and muttered softly, "Good. They'll eat her first so they won't have to eat us." Remembering the memories from my past life makes me want to vomit. These ungrateful relatives don't deserve any help from me. I glanced again at the group message above. Fortunately, Mom hadn't revealed our exact location. They couldn't track us down. It was just venting their anger. I ignored it and left the group in one click. Mom was still nagging by my side. Look, we're all family, just because of you. Look what you've done to our family relations. Your aunt's family has hardly any food left, and the kids are not even 2 years old. What if they freeze? Nora, just send them some food. We have plenty stored up anyway. They've all been cursing me in the group. Didn't you see how horrible they were? I massaged my temples and said exasperatedly, "That's because you started this heartless business first." Mom began to cry on the floor, pounding the ground with her hands. You really are heartless, such a wicked child, nothing like my own. Fine, I'm heartless, you're the compassionate one, you go deliver it. I yelled at her. It's nearly minus 50 degrees Celsius outside. The cars can't even operate in such terrible and dangerous weather, and you want your daughter to go out and deliver supplies. If you want to deliver, go deliver yourself. Don't boss me around. How can you speak to your mom like this? You heartless thing. Mom slapped me right then and there. Fine, I'll deliver it myself at my old age. I may be old and useless, but at least I have a kind heart, unlike your selfish and venomous self. She shouted this loudly. I covered my face, seeing only disappointment. If you're going to deliver it, then just go. Stop the empty talk. I'm leaving now, she declared righteously. Clearly, she had been comfortable for too long and had no concept of what minus 50 degrees Celsius felt like. She dressed herself and cursed as she opened the door. As soon as the door cracked open, a cold blast hit, everything near the door frosted over. Mom shivered intensely and quickly shut the door, watching her at the doorway, unsettled and patting her chest. She didn't even take a step outside. I couldn't help but scoff. Go on, deliver it. Why aren't you going? She fell silent, saying nothing more. It turned out, she only had the energy when it came to ordering me around. Why not let her try making one herself? I shrugged and said nothing more. But the next morning, as soon as I woke up and checked WeChat, I found it exploding with messages. Nora, we're almost at your place. Hurry up and open the door for us. We're about to freeze to death. Nora, you must open the door for us today. It was my uncle and aunt messaging me simultaneously. A shock ran through my heart. How on earth did they find out our exact address? I scrolled through the messages and my anger began to boil. Just the previous night, while I was asleep, My mother had unlocked my phone and added me and the relatives to a group chat. She personally sent a location pin in the group and pretended to be polite, saying, "Come on over, it's warm here and there's plenty of stuff." Nora wouldn't let me share this. I had to do it while she was asleep. The heartless girl. "Don't worry, big brother and little sister, if she won't host you, I will. Come quickly. We have more supplies here than we can eat. Let's have a nice family reunion dinner before New Year's Eve." My head buzzed, and then suddenly, there was a loud knocking at the door. "Open up, Nora. It's us. Open the door." My mother leaped to the door and flung it open, and I, just waking up in bed, hadn't even had time to get dressed. My uncle and aunt's families just entered, and a warm rush greeted them, melting the frost on their faces. "It's so warm in here," they exclaimed. I hastily threw on some clothes and came out of the room with a scowl. I saw a flash of jealousy and greed on my uncle's face. Having survived an apocalypse once, I was particularly sensitive to these emotions, yet, my oblivious mother continued to warmly welcome them. Come, sit down, you must be frozen. Nora, go get them some water." Anger surged within me. The door was still open, it didn't matter anymore. Let it be. I had always known there was a traitor in the house. So I had a backup plan. Most of our supplies had been moved to the basement, leaving less than a third in the house. The basement was designed to be extremely concealed, seamlessly blending with the surrounding floor, and my mother had no clue about it. No matter what, I could still come out unscathed. When those relatives came in, I had already made up my mind. In this lifetime, I was going to expose their true nature and cure my mother of her naive saintliness. I stood at the door, glaring unpleasantly at my uncle and aunt's families. They touched their noses, looking somewhat guilty, and my mother, immersed in the joy of hosting, just gave me a smug look as if to say, "What can you do about it? The people are already here. After all, I am your mother." My uncle and aunt knew how to play to the audience. Seeing that I wasn't greeting them, they eagerly hovered around my mother, occasionally throwing snide remarks my way. "Sister, you're so generous. Unlike your child who's so stingy, the younger generation just doesn't measure up. It's not fair to say that. If we had these means, we'd definitely invite you all in. It's just that she's not good enough, playing the perfect good person." My mother looked even more noble against the backdrop of me, the villain. She immediately rushed to the kitchen to distribute my things generously. "Here are some chocolate fries that Nora bought. Take them. Eat as much as you want." I clenched my fists in anger. These were my favorite snacks, and there wasn't much left. Mom did it out of spite, deliberately making me uncomfortable. She lifted her head, looked at me with a smugness that seemed to overflow from her eyes. It was as if she was saying, "What can you do to me?" In front of the relatives, standing where I could hear, she taunted me. "In our generation, people helped each other, knew warmth and cold. Not like today's young people. So cold." "Fine, I'm not cold. I'm warm-hearted. I can host guests well too." I rushed to the kitchen and took out the bird's nest and ginseng that Mom had treasured for a long time. "Everyone hasn't eaten for so long. Let me prepare a medicinal meal to nourish everyone." Seeing what I had taken out, Mom's face turned pale, but her words had already set her up. Now it was too late for regrets. The cousin who harassed me in my past life, while still showing respect towards my mother, then turned to me and mouthed, "Bitch. I did it. What can you do about it?" And my aunt, looking at me coldly, said, "Nora, your aunt has seen all your past actions. You've chilled the hearts of our relatives. It's too late to make amends now." My uncle snorted and pushed the bowl of bird's nest soup off the table. Mom cried out in distress, "Brother, if you don't want to drink it, fine, but why take it out on things? I usually can't bear to drink it myself." Watching the true faces of these relatives, I just found it ridiculous. They had just entered my house and started showing their true colors to the host, constantly calling me ungrateful, when in fact, they are the ones who lack gratitude. I suddenly struck the wall with the back of my hand. The crowd instantly fell silent. Having survived the apocalypse in my past life, I knew well the law of the jungle. Every day of this reborn life, I've been training, lifting weights daily, building muscle. I've become so strong now, my upper body is more formidable than a bullfrog. My fists as big as punching bags. With such a physique, just standing here, my presence is intimidating. Under my imposing aura, they didn't dare to touch me. Asserting myself as the master of the house, I spoke up. "I'll emphasize one thing. Look, we only have so much supplies in the house, and with the weather getting colder by the day, waiting for rescue is an indefinite prospect. You can share, yes. But if you let this information slip and attract others here, one more mouth to feed means less food for each, and you'll end up starving to death. Do you understand? It's been almost a month since the apocalypse began. They should understand the weight of my words." My aunt and uncle swallowed hard, actually listening seriously without pulling rank as elders. With that said, I lazily glanced at them and went back to my room to sleep. It's just the beginning. I doubt they'd dare do anything to me now. The next day, Mom received a distress message on her backup phone, her eyes filled with tears. Your childhood neighbor, she messaged Mom saying she's about to freeze to death. It's just the two of them, let her come to our house to warm up. No way, this time, except for me, everyone in our house unanimously said no. My uncle even went so far as to snatch the cell phone right out of my mother's hands. Why are you taking my cell phone, big brother? People are freezing to death out there. At a critical time like this, I have to say, you're being naive. With so many people in the world, do you think you can save them all? It's already good enough if you can take care of those around you. My mother felt extremely aggrieved after being scolded by my uncle, seemingly unaware of why everyone had become so selfish, but I knew why, because everyone in the family had experienced hunger and cold, except for my mother, who had lived a life of comfort under my protection. Only those who are well-fed have the leisure to recklessly stir up trouble without considering the consequences. Her kindness met with resistance from everyone, so she no longer dared to casually speak of saving others. During dinner, everyone ate their meal. My mother still led and directed me like she used to in the past. Nora, everyone here is your elder, and since you are young and capable, help wash the dishes for our guests. I sat there, motionless, as if I hadn't heard her. Indeed, my assertiveness that day had its effect. The others, seated in the middle, also didn't dare to make a sound. No one but my mother dared to order me around. I let out a cold chuckle and looked around at everyone with their own agendas, saying, whoever ate should wash their own dishes. This is my house. Letting you in is already a favor. My mother was immediately upset. How can you speak like that? Don't you have any manners? How can you make guests wash the dishes? Fine. If you don't want to wash, let your mother do it. Let these old bones of mine wash them for you. She began to play the martyr, thinking these words could prick my conscience and persuade me to help her, but I just shrugged and dropped a casual remark, suit yourself. I refused to bear her karmic burden. With that, I went straight back to my room, stumped by my response. My mother, unwilling to lose face, actually went to wash the dishes. I rolled my eyes. She really knows how to make life hard for herself. My uncle and aunt are no saints. Seeing my mother work diligently without appreciation, they just piled even more tasks onto her. It wasn't even a week before my mother couldn't take it anymore. She wanted to complain to my aunt and uncle, but having preached about how to treat guests, she felt embarrassed to contradict herself. She could only moan about her pains while sharing a room with me at night, hoping I would hear. Oh, my back hurts so much from all the work, it's so painful. My back is really painful. Before the apocalypse, I was a dutiful child. Whenever my mother complained about her discomfort, I would massage her back and shoulders, but after the apocalypse, things changed completely. Because of her overly compassionate nature, I had to do even more work, wash more dishes, and it went on for a month. Wasn't I even more exhausted and tired than her back then? But in my past life, no one pitied me. Mother, the pain isn't in your body, so naturally, you can't empathize with me, so in this life, I won't empathize with you either. Faced with her self-inflicted suffering, I only felt that she deserved it. I wore earplugs, pretended not to hear, and continued to sleep. People tend to bully the weak and fear the strong. During that week, no one bothered me. They all dumped the workload on my mom. It wasn't even half a month before my mom couldn't take it anymore. For the first time, she showed her displeasure to the guests. From now on, whoever makes a mess cleans it up themselves. My aunt looked wronged but said something that put my mom in a difficult position. Sis, weren't you the one who always talked about hospitality? I work so hard every day. And you all just sit there without seeing any of it, really, sitting here as if you own the place. This is our house, my aunt retorted. Didn't you always say we're all family? Now what's this about yours and mine? My mom, so angered she was practically shaking, couldn't find the words to counter. She just dropped a line. Fine, from today onwards, I'm not doing any work. I secretly curved my lips upwards. Good. Mom finally stopped being a martyr and started standing up for her rights, though. It really was a bit late. Mom's dream of a joyful, harmonious family atmosphere never materialized. With over a dozen people in the house needing to eat every day, every mouth seemed like a bottomless pit. Looking at the increasingly bland dishes, my little cousin bellowed in frustration, Mom, Auntie, I don't want to eat rice every day. I want meat, fried chicken, roast duck. I want to eat well. My aunt couldn't stand to see her son so upset and blurted out in a rush of complaints to my mom. Now we can only eat plain white rice every day, not even a side dish. We have several cans of fish at home. I knew we shouldn't have come. Mom was utterly baffled. She didn't understand why helping others had led to this, but only I, who had survived the apocalypse, knew the truth of gratitude and resentment over a handful of rice. Can't you see the situation? If you hadn't come, you'd all have frozen to death outside by now. I knew I shouldn't have let your family in. This was the first time my usually helpful and kind-hearted mom shouted at relatives, "What's wrong with complaining about bad food? You said there would be plenty to eat and drink at your place, and look at us now." The scene was chaotic, and if it weren't for me holding them back, they might have started fighting. Let's all calm down. Staying alive is what's most important right now. My uncle rushed into the house and pulled the two arguing parties apart, but his eyes, filled with hatred and scheming, sent shivers down my spine. As supplies dwindled, the atmosphere in the house grew more oppressive. "Sis, how much rice do we have left? I see your daughter's cooking less and less each day, and the kids are still hungry." That was my aunt's voice, deliberately lowered, but every word was pointed. My mom sighed and waved her hand. "Oh well, I'll check the rice bags again. If it's not enough, we'll just have to make do." But the next day, my cousin's cries of hunger, holding his bowl, pierced everyone's heart like a needle. The remaining rice was running out. What was cooked in the pot was nothing but watery soup with a few wild vegetables floating on top, mocking the absurdity of this family reunion. The wrinkles on my mom's face deepened. As daily rations were distributed, everyone's eyes were round and watchful, fiercely guarding their share, afraid of getting less. My aunt and cousin had already fought twice over insufficient food. My cousin, dizzy from hunger, secretly stuffed a hard biscuit into his pocket. When discovered, his mother slapped him and scolded harshly, "Eat, eat, eat. Do you think just because you're a child you can take whatever you want? This place is all about rules, rules," Auntie shouted with red eyes. "Your family eats the most, and you still have the nerve to talk about rules?" The argument spread from the kitchen to the living room. Everyone was shouting and cursing, children hid in the corners crying, as if they knew this household could no longer bear the strain, until one day, something even more terrifying happened. Mom discovered that the bag of rice hidden under her bed had disappeared. "Who took it?" For the first time, Mom asked coldly, anger in her voice. Everyone bowed their heads in silence. "I'll ask again, who took the rice? How can you speak like that?" "Sister-in-law," this time, Auntie spoke up, her tone full of disdain. "It's the end of the world. We all need to survive. There's no yours or mine. We're a family. We should share our joys and sorrows. The rice must have been cooked by someone. What are you fussing about?" Mom's face stiffened. Auntie's words were exactly what she herself had said a few days ago, thinking back to a few days earlier when she had proudly spoken about helping others. Mom's face twisted in irony. Outside, the wind and snow roared like wild beasts. Inside, it felt even more like hell. Hunger distorted everyone's faces, and familial bonds had long been shattered into pieces. This was the fourth day without food. Everyone was listlessly curled up in corners. Mom and I stayed in the bedroom, Mom lying stiffly on the bed, her eyes vacant. I took some compressed biscuits from under the mattress and handed them to Mom with a sarcastic tone. "Here's some food for you. You can go and share it with them." When Mom saw the biscuits, her eyes widened. She snatched the biscuits voraciously, yet chewed carefully, afraid that the sound of her chewing might be heard by someone. Watching Mom's undignified eating and the regret nearly spilling from her eyes, I found it amusing. Some things you only truly appreciate after you've experienced them yourself. Yet, a greater crisis was still brewing. After half a day, the people in the house couldn't bear the hunger anymore. The relatives we had taken in started conspiring outside. "They have food." This was the first thing Uncle whispered, piercing the tense atmosphere inside the house like a needle. "How do you know?" Auntie asked, surprised and agitated. "Do you need to ask? They've been quiet and calm. Look at their complexions. Do they look like they're starving?" Uncle said grimly. "Besides, it's the end of the world. They're the homeowners. Isn't it normal for them to have a private stash?" Auntie's eyes flickered, obviously mostly convinced. She licked her dry lips, her voice hoarse. "But if we just go and rob them, isn't that too what?" Uncle scoffed coldly. "Look around. Who else in this house can last? If we wait any longer, we'll all starve." He lowered his voice, his tone sinister. "Better to force them to give up the food. If they don't have any, we can resort to eating the mother and daughter. After all, it's just two women, and there are no men to help them. What trouble could they possibly stir up?" These words silenced Auntie for a moment, but eventually, she nodded. In the bedroom, I leaned against the metal door of the safe room. I heard everything loud and clear. "I always knew this day would come, Mom," I said in a low voice tinged with sarcasm. "Do you hear that? These are the wonderful relatives you welcomed." Mom froze by the bed, her face deathly pale, trembling all over. How could they? How could they? Why couldn't they?" I scoffed coldly. "They stopped seeing you as a person a long time ago, from the day you let them in. They treated you like an endless source of charity. You liked playing the saint, and now you see, saints are only good for sacrifice." Mom was speechless, guilt and fear mingling in her eyes. At midnight, the conspiracy finally took shape. Bang, bang, bang. The knocking came, along with my uncle's shouting, "Sis, open up, we're family, we won't hurt you." Mom looked terrified at the door, her voice trembling. They really came." I grabbed her and pushed her into a corner, saying coldly, "Shut up, Just watch, this is a safe house, even the bedroom door, once shut, is impervious to blades and bullets, so I had no worries about our safety, as we remained silent inside. The voices outside grew more vicious, turning from urging to threatening. Sis, stop pretending, we know you have food, if you don't open up, don't blame us for being rude. Then came the sound of a knife hacking at the door, bang, bang. The metal door emitted a low hum but showed no signs of damage. What's with this door? Impervious to weapons. My aunt screamed outside. What do you mean impervious? Keep chopping, my uncle frantically said. Inside. Mom cowered in the corner, tears streaming down her face. How could they do this to us? We're supposed to be family. Mom, they're right. I interrupted her coldly. Aren't you all about giving? Didn't you say family should support each other? Now's your chance. Why don't you open the door? Mom sobbed, unable to lift her head. The voices outside grew even more rampant. Sis, it's useless not to open the door. We're all going to die soon anyway, you two women. Since you're going to die, might as well feed us first. You love to give. Don't you want to help us? I've seen enough. Mom suddenly raised her head, her eyes filled with long-suppressed anger. These people, they're beasts, only realizing now. Isn't it a bit late? I sneered. Eventually, the chopping stopped outside, replaced by a chaotic scuffle. This door can't be opened. Shut up. I'll eat you if you say it can't be opened again. You're mad. Why should only your family be eaten? Bullshit. You've eaten the most. Why should we starve? If we're dying together. Don't think you can survive alone. Curses, screams, the dull thud of knives piercing flesh. The sounds merged into a nightmarish cacophony. Mom stared blankly at the door, tears drying on her face. If only, she exhaled shakily, her voice filled with unstoppable regret. If only I hadn't let them in from the start. If only, there are no ifs. My voice was as cold as ice. In an apocalypse, every additional person is an enemy. You're only understanding this now, far too late. When dawn broke, there was no more noise outside. I opened the door, only to see a blood-stained floor and a mess of corpses. Clearly, they had turned on each other and died by each other's hands. Mom wept bitterly in front of the bodies. What should we have done instead? Let them freeze to death, so they wouldn't have to die like this. Distraught, Mom hardened her heart and decisively went to the kitchen to grab a kitchen knife. Daughter, I'm sorry, it's my fault for dragging you into this. I just wanted to be seen as a good person, to maintain a good reputation, and look where that got us. I am truly the most selfish one. Let me handle this. Don't dirty your hands. With that, Mom was about to cut a piece of flesh from our deceased cousin. No, Mom, there's no need. I quickly stopped her. Just throw them out. I'll figure something out for food. Seeing Mom now genuinely remorseful, I breathed a sigh of relief. Such a painful lesson was enough to bring her to her senses. So what do we eat now? Mom asked. I didn't respond but walked to a corner of the bedroom and opened a hidden entrance to a basement. As the entrance opened, rows of LED lights flickered on. The spacious basement was filled with neatly arranged supplies, bags of rice, canned goods, vacuum-sealed biscuits, and instant meals on one side, and reserves of mineral water and beverages on the other, along with various household items, even including a small generator. Mom was stunned and murmured, "Where did all this come from?" I kept a backup plan. Otherwise, with your generous nature, you would have given away everything we had, I said, prying open a can with an army knife and placing it in front of Mom. Eat, Mom. Watching the fully stocked basement and the can in front of her, Mom didn't know whether to cry or laugh. Nora, thank you for keeping this for us. I've been a burden on you, I shrugged, not knowing what to say. Eventually, we cleared the bodies from the floor, we dug out the supplies and enjoyed a hearty meal of hot pot. Fortunately, my prior preparations were sufficient, not just with food but also with entertainment like tablets and pre-downloaded TV shows, so even staying at home wasn't too hard. There were plenty of things to keep us occupied. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, the snow outside began to stir. A beam of sunlight entered our home. I watched the temperature slowly rise and the snow melt away. Reflecting on everything, I felt a sense of relief. After enduring a long, cold winter, spring was finally on its way.